mother that was the oldest of 7 kids, lived in a house with dirt floors, outdoor toilets, and no electricity. A father who had never graduated high school. No male upstream from me ever had graduated high school. I was the first in my family lineage to do it. Certainly the first ever to go to college. My parents went through the Depression and then World War II. They were a part of what we often call the greatest generation because they did not live their lives so they would have a better, more comfortable life. They lived it so their kids could do better than them. You know, you'd think you'd go through something like the Great Depression and the World War, it'd make you angry and bitter and cynical. No, not my parents' generation. Instead, it made them just more resolved and more completely convinced that they had a responsibility to see that their kids never had to go through that. And as a result, most of us live today better than we ever dreamed we would when we were kids. Because our parents lifted us up on their shoulders and said, this is America. You didn't choose where you started, but you can sure do better than where you started. The sad thing is, if we don't make some changes in this country, we're going to leave the next generation not with a great sense of optimism, but with a $9 trillion debt, for which they'll have nothing to show for it, except we'll be putting upon them a debt that they'll have to service in addition to the things they'll have to build for their own kids. We've got to have national security that starts with secure borders. Washington has completely failed. And if you know what, if Washington has not fixed the problems that they've already had, do you really want someone in Washington to be entrusted to be president? If they haven't fixed it now, do you think they're suddenly going to get the ideas to make it work? I don't. That's why I think that it makes a whole lot more sense for somebody who's been working on making problems go away. I promise I'm the only candidate in this race that will commit to you that we'll have a border fence within 18 months. We'll secure our borders. We'll stop the issue of amnesty and have a system in which everybody I want your kids to have the same kind of hope and optimism about this country that I was able to grow up with. The same kind that would make them believe that they too could one day run for President of the United States. When a kid like me can't do it, your kid can't either. Never forget that. But as long as a kid like me can, then your kid can too. Folks, if we end up with a system that is so cooked, and it's all about the plutocrats and those who never have lived like we've lived, then we've lost something more than elections. We've lost the heart, the soul, and the spirit of this country that says no matter who you are, you're equal to anybody else. And you can dream the American dream and you can live it. Yeah. When I was 8 years old, my dad took me to hear a speech to the governor of my state. Governors never came to Hope, down in the southwest corner of Arkansas where I grew up. It was out there where nobody really paid much attention to us. And I remember him saying, now son, I'm going to take you down. The governor's coming to town. He's going to make a talk with this late dedication. I want you to hear that speech, son, because you know what? Son, you may live your whole life, and you may never get to meet a governor in person. Boy, would my dad be surprised. I served as the 44th governor of the state of Arkansas. And you know what? If you people here in Wisconsin will get out and get your friends and relatives and folks you work with and your neighbors to vote for me and multiply yourselves many times over, we could upset this whole deal and I could be on my way to serving you as the 44th President of the United States.